Happy Thursday.
Young blood made of gold, a mind you can't control. Running wild, can't come down, my head is in the clouds. Gotta keep this feeling, keep on breathing, even if we're slipping away. So I close my eyes and lose myself now, do it like it's only today. We got a party for a lifetime, no we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No we don't care about the bad nights, before us thinking that could feel like this, make me feel like this. We got a party for a lifetime, no we ain't stopping for the sunrise. No we don't care about the bad nights, before us thinking that could feel like this, make me feel like this. I'm on my last straw, I'm broken and I'm woken up. I'm done feeding your lies, I've had enough. I can't run your place in this faulty game. And all the words you speak mean nothing more to me, 'cause let's start over now. Rewind, and I won't let you go. I need you by my side. I'm gone, so don't run from the truth. You're lost, now I know you played me just like a fluke. I still can't believe you had me on a leash, cutting all my teeth with all the lies you breathe. 'Cause let's start over now. Rewind, and I won't let you go. I need you by my side. Let's take it slow. Where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. you don't know how. You say we're taking on water, yeah, we're sinking now. You're looking all concerned, like we're gonna drown. But we both know how to swim, no worries as we'll fall now. Let's take it slow, where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow, who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow. I drag you out your mind, and there are days I hate you, but baby, you're still mine. And then we have the best times, no matter what we do. And even when we don't, there's nobody I'd rather choose. Let's take it slow, where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow. Slow, who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me. Let's take it slow, where you go, I go too. And if you hit the bottom, I'm going down with you. Let's take it slow, who cares where we gotta be? You know you'll have a good time wherever you're with me.
Well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. Really do appreciate your time. Today is November 14th, 2024. It is 8:15 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States. Are you gonna hang? All right, come on. Let go. Hope you all are well, my dear friends. Really do appreciate you. This is a case that has been requested several times by you guys, my subscribers, and I'm blurry. Shouldn't be blurry. I don't know what, but it's probably the lighting. It's probably the purple in the back. Anywho, but this is a case Laken Riley out of Athens, Georgia. Horrific crime. And to say the least, Laken is was a beautiful young college student, 22-year-old nursing student. She went to Augusta University. She was tragically unalived on February 22nd, 2024. This happened from an illegal uh, migrant who um, came across the border. And if this hadn't have happened, he would still be here today. She would still be here today, rather. Laken's body was discovered in a wooded area near a lake, right there on the, close to the campus. Um, with the cause of her death, it was determined to be blunt force trauma to the head and asphyxiation. Now, the suspect, his name is Jose Antonio. He's from Venezuela. Uh, he's a Venezuela national citizen who entered the United States illegally in September of 2022. He was arrested shortly after Laken um, was found deceased. Um, he has been charged with multiple offenses, including malice, unaliving, felony, unaliving, kidnapping, and bodily injury, aggravated assault, and with the intent to RAPE, along with false imprisonment. Now, Jose was has pled not guilty to these charges. This is going to be. He has requested a. Sorry, sorry, you scared. You put your hand in my mouth. He has requested a bench trial, and a bench trial is the judge uh, deciding his fate. Now, would you rather have, you know, 12 jurors, or would you rather have um, a judge? Either way, I believe he would be found guilty. I think I don't think that they have much of a defense, to be quite honest with you. Um, but it's really sparked a lot of attention in this case. Number one, she was just out running. Uh, but it's sparked political debates. It's sparked the media uh, concerning immigration policy, all of that. In response to Laken's uh, unaliving, shall we say, the House of Representatives passed, quote, the Laken Act on March 7th, 2024. This proposed legislation mandates federal detention for migrants who commit uh, burglary or theft and allows the states to sue the federal government for failing to enforce immigration laws. So, we're going to go over the gist of this case this evening on what all happened, the details around it. Tomorrow, the trial starts. And it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be a very long trial. It may even just be a day, maybe even not a full day. It can go really quickly. It can go really quickly. I need to thank a couple people, though. Mocha, thank you. Out of the shadows and chatting. Well, thank you so much, Mocha. Really do appreciate your support, my friend. Thank you very, very much. And there's our dear Holly gifting a pearl necklace. Thank you, sweet Holly. Y'all, do me a favor. I know we have praying people in here. And if you don't pray, send good vibes to Holly's beloved husband. He is in the hospital, and he's been very ill. He's on dialysis and uh, having some medical trouble. And so he's a tough one. So please keep Holly and her husband in your thoughts, in your prayers. And we are just praying for recovery in his body, and keeping him and Holly and their family strong. So, without further ado, we're going to get started on this case. But do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button. Would greatly appreciate it. Consider becoming a member of the Pearl family if you haven't yet. We would love for you to join the Pearl family. Would greatly appreciate it. Um, Credit goes to Court TV right here. Vinny did a great piece on this. Oh, Carol, thank God. Praise the Lord. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. That's so good to hear. Yes, Court TV will be streaming the trial. Yep, we'll be streaming the trial. That's okay, Bo. That's okay if you can't. No worries. Just continue chatting, and you might be gifted a membership. You never know. You never know. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Americans because of who Laken is and who her alleged killer is. Here's the story. Laken Riley was a 22-year-old nursing student at Augusta University in Athens, Georgia. Laken had recently transferred from the neighboring University of Georgia because she wanted to be a nurse. Laken was also a runner. She competed in cross country in high school and continued running recreationally in college. On February 22nd, she decided to take a morning run. She headed over to the running paths near the intramural fields in Lake Herrick on the UGA campus. When she did not return from her morning run, her roommate called police.
Ladies, please, if you go on a run, hey Tracy, if you go on a run by yourself, it's best to not go by yourself, but I know sometimes you just got to run when you can run. Please take pepper spray, take something that you can protect yourself with. It is so important. And never have both of your earphones in your ear. Please. It distorts your surroundings. You can't hear anything around you. And it's best to walk. I know we like to do it in more like private areas a lot of times, but it is best if you've got a sidewalk you can walk on, where it's out by the road. Walk on that. Walk down your city streets. So, be There went my thing. Be very, very careful of that, please. Okay, let me see here 1 second. Oh goodness. Bear with me, guys. I apologize for that. I'm gonna have to fix that cord.
Laken's body was found less than an hour later near Lake Herrick. The initial investigation revealed she died from blunt force trauma and her skull was disfigured. Investigators.
This is an act of violence that, for just trying to be healthy, right? Walking, running. Angel Girl, thank you so much for your first month, my dear. Really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. If you are well, you always have your dogs with you, even if you go to the mailbox. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. This guy had to have been planning this from the moment he woke up. He has allegedly been stalking Laken for some time, and this is not the only person that he had allegedly stalked, as he was kind of bouncing around the country.
Investigators worked quickly and identified a suspect through surveillance video, which showed a suspect wearing a very specific hat. The next day, they located a man fitting the description who was wearing the hat. That suspect, Diego Ibarra, was detained for having a fake green card, but not implicated in Laken's abduction and murder. Instead, investigators arrested his brother, Jose Ibarra, who also entered the country illegally, and have charged him with the murder of Laken Riley. She was just going for a run. That's all she was doing. And you think about Laken Riley, like it's a if that's your daughter, you are so proud of her, doing everything, like studying to be a nurse, and we need nurses in this country.
Thank you, James.
And to dedicate your life to helping others, like that's amazing. That's really amazing. But that life was taken. And what I wanted to do, Cody Thomas, our producer, on the case and went to the University of Georgia to take a look around where Laken's body was found.
Now we're here on UGA, beginning on their East Campus, here at this apartment complex. This is where Jose Ibarra, the alleged killer of Laken Riley, and his brother Diego live, both who are now in custody. And what I'm standing on right now is that popular cut-through. We've talked to some students since we've been out here. A popular cut-through down to the intramural fields. This paved path that they use as a shortcut to get down to the paths that circulate Lake Herrick. As we continue walking down, we've only seen a few, 2, maybe 3 runners come by, some people walking their dogs. But one thing to note when we get down here on this paved pathway, to my left right here, that's student housing. As you can see, there's a UGA bus right here, a campus bus dropping off kids, picking up kids.
Yes, Eileen, you're right. Laken just wanted to help others, right? She was, going to be a nurse, and nurses are some of the best of humanity, if you ask me. You really have to care to be a nurse. That is just nothing that you get into just because, right? Because nurses deal with a lot. They deal with, sick people while they're healing. They don't feel good. And you're dealing with a lot. And so, God bless her for that. It's just very tragic. It's an extra light out of the world that someone snuffed out for no reason other than their sexual perverted demented, wanting to take something that wasn't theirs ever.
Security cameras, if you look closer, these are the only sets of security cameras we've seen since we've been here so far, which means if you're out of that range, you're generally out here on your own. No matter if you have your location on your phone, no matter if people know where you are, that's the only range of security camera footage that they have, that we've seen thus far. As we continue on down, this pathway that Laken Riley took, you see we have a biker coming, somebody down there walking their dog. As we continue down, if you look this way towards the woods, that's where the paths and the wooded trails begin, here at the intramural fields around Lake Herrick. And if you look closer, you can see that is the path that she took on her final run that morning in February. Now, we've just come down that path, down from Jose Ibarra's apartments up toward the street. And as we stand here, one thing to note, there's no fence, there's no barrier, there's no wall between those apartments and these trails that lead to the intramural fields, which means anybody from the street can access these trails. As we come across this railroad track, we come down these stairs, coming down this popular cut through that students use to get to the trails around Lake Herrick. You can see on either side of me, the brush is very thick, it's a little shaded, and it's a little secluded. Ample opportunity for somebody to hide. Now we get on down the trail a little bit more, and we see that it diverges off in 3 different directions. As we were walking out here a little bit before, we saw 1, maybe 2 runners going from this direction down to that direction, which led us to believe this is the path that Laken Riley took down to the pond. And again, as we continue down this trail, very secluded, lots of woods, lots of brush, very dense brush. It would be hard to imagine somebody crawling in there and trying to catch somebody by the element of surprise, but we never know until more information comes out. Now we continue down. It's a little rough, a little edgy down here.
How many Lakens have we seen? There have been countless. No, ma'am. There have been countless Lakens, these perverts in the bushes, just ready to pounce like a lion in the desert. We have seen this so many times. I mean, it's beyond knowing someone is staring at you, waiting for you to be vulnerable. Justin, look what happened to the teacher in Memphis out for her run. Yep, I remember that. Yes, the POS put her in the van before putting her body in a vacant house. Yep. Yes, I remember. Yep.
Maybe 1 or 2 runners we saw before, but this is the trail that people walk their dogs on, students jog on, that lead down to the pond here on Lake Herrick. So we just left that long stretch of land around the trail over there, maybe a 1/4 mile long, little less than that. Somewhere along this path is where Laken Riley was brutally attacked by Jose Ibarra. His apartments are right up there. Now, as I come around this corner and get to this spot right here, it starts to look pretty open. You know, there's trees, there's brush, but as I pan from left to right, it seems as if you would be able to see if somebody was out of place, if something was out of the ordinary. Now, something to note, this is supposedly supposed to be a popular trail by students to run here, but we've been here maybe an hour and a half now. We've only seen 3, 4, maybe 5 people tops. And one last thing to note, there's no security cameras. There's a light post over there, power lines, but no security cameras. So even if you do have your location on, or your friends to track or your family to track, they know you're out here on a run, it's still up to you for your own protection. Now, ultimately, to my left is where Laken Riley's body was found. Right here, this is the wooded area that the police reports talk about. This is the gravel spill where all the police tape was roping everything off. There's still remnants of it here. And as you come over here to this rock, you can see some type of vigil, some type of memorial, a couple of flowers, and a smiley face painted here, probably by friends, family, even community members, honoring the loss of life of Laken Riley.
You know, when Cody went out there and is seeing where it is, I mean, it's in the open. This is not like in the middle of the woods, like in the Delphi case. This is out in the open on a college.
No, Sharon, this is not the van guy. No, not the van guy. This is, he was an illegal immigrant from Venezuela.
Campus, for goodness sake. Which brings us to our first question of the investigation, which is about our victim, Laken Riley. Was Laken Riley targeted here? Right? Could this have just been like a crime of opportunity? Oh, here's a girl. Here's a young woman. Let me attack her. Let me take her life. Let me see if I can sexually assault her. Like just randomly? Or was she targeted? Joining me to try to figure all this out, private investigator with more than 2 decades of experience, Jason Jensen, and forensic death investigator, professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University and the host of the very popular Body Bags podcast, Joseph Scott Morgan. All right. Before we have this discussion, I'll give you just a little more information here. This was Jeff Clark, chief of police at UGA, what he said about this very topic.
At this time,
no, the government will not deport him. He will stay in a U.S. prison probably for the rest of his life. But, you know, the trial starts tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll see.
the investigation suggests that they had no relationship. He did not know her at all. I think this was a crime of opportunity where he saw an individual and bad things happen.
Okay, Jason Jensen, what are your thoughts about Laken Riley? Was she targeted here? Was it just a chance meeting? Was this someone who went out to commit a crime?
I think to answer that, Vinny, it's all yes. Yes, she was targeted in the sense it was a crime of opportunity. He was on the prowl. He was looking for a victim, any victim, likely for a victim to commit a sexual assault with. Other than that, there's no connection between him.
Am I going to cover the trial? I don't. What time does it start tomorrow? It starts at 9 a.m. I probably won't be able to be honest with you. If I can, I will, but I don't know. It's probably not going to last more than a day, too, max.
And the victim in this particular case.
Joseph Scott Morgan, how do you, we look at this crime scene and it's shocking how wide open everything really is in this area. It's a brazen attack. How much do you think went into the planning, the preparation, or the decision to attack Laken Riley at that time on that trail?
I think some, at least at an elementary level, perhaps. He had been there before, I certainly believe. I'm curious as to how much time the police spent in that overgrowth over there. I think that this was a targeted attack, just like Jason had said. It's targeting a particular demographic, young female that was out alone by herself jogging. And, it's not as open as you might think. When you get away from where her body was deposited, there's a lot of cover for him. And so he had the advantage all the while. And if she had earbuds in, something that was preventing her from hearing anything that would knock down her ability to fully sense that environment and that she's moving around in, yeah, I mean, she's a lamb to slaughter at that point in time, and he's a wolf over in the brush looking to grab her.
Jason Jensen, in trying to, and this was early on in the investigation when the chief made that statement, but is there any way that you could attempt to track whether or not he had been following her or was familiar with her from other runs? Because
Absolutely, Leslie, it's not just illegals. that do this. In fact, you're much less likely overall to be hurt or unalived by an immigrant or even illegal immigrants. But none the fact, it still happened, and it does happen. And you know, if you come here, you have to come here legally. You just got to come here legally. Um, and America always tries to choose the best of people. I mean, look at Albert Einstein. We took Albert Einstein in. You know what I mean? We've got Elon Musk. Uh, so many doctors, scientists, lawyers to enrich our nation. And I'm not trying to make this political. I'm really not. Because I believe in the immigration system. I believe in it, but I believe in it doing it lawfully, legally, and doing it the right way. Um, it's a sad world. It's a sad world in other parts of the world, and I understand that I have a lot more passion for women and children, particularly children. Um, but you've it's got to be done right. Um, so Rhonda Jewel trial. I don't follow that Get Lockered.
The case out in Idaho with the Idaho students, it seems in that case they were able to figure out that he may have been around that house a bunch of times, maybe scoping it out. What are your thoughts about that part of the investigation?
Yes. We do know that they collected his cell phone so that they could determine what his GPS locations were. That was part of a warrant activity that was early on in this case. And so it would be easy for them to piece if he was ever in the vicinity of her apartment at any point in the weeks preceding to this. One of the things that is interesting is one of the charges that he is facing is being a peeping Tom, which I think goes to show his motive and his frame of mind at the time, because he's obviously at that point, if he's peeping in the young women's windows, it all is part of a pattern developing here that he's targeting a young female, and at the right moment in time when he found that opportunity, he took Laken Riley's life.
Joseph Scott Morgan, when he woke up that morning, do you think this was the intention that day to attack? And I'm not saying the murder, I'm saying the intention.
Look how beautiful Laken is. I feel so bad for her family, so bad for the college that she goes to. It's a very tight-knit place. Yeah, I mean, they still let him in for some reason. I don't know. I don't really know what the reason was, but they should have never let this guy in. Should never let this guy in.
To attack a young woman on that campus. Do you think he woke up and okay, I'm going to do this today?
Yeah, I think that it was. And that goes back to this idea. He was aware of the trail. He was aware of how much cover there was. And, his preparation met opportunity. Now, how prepared he was when he actually showed up, I think a lot of that, we can discuss relative to the type of weapon that he utilized in this case tells a lot about what went on. But yeah, I think in his mind, at least at a primal level, he is prepared to do this particular day. I just don't know if he intended to bring about her death.
All right. Jason Jensen, Joseph Scott Morgan with us. All right, coming up next, why would Jose Ibarra want a bench trial?
A jury trial in this case.
No questions.
Everybody says I went to the wrong crowd, but
Danielle, I mean, listen, you're absolutely right. You are, where was that comment? I want to address that. Damn, where was that comment? Anyone is capable of doing nefarious things. Evil does not have a nationality. You're absolutely right. And like I said, statistically, you're more likely to be unalived by, a non, a legal person. But regardless, we have to have laws. And this is coming from someone who is married to an immigrant. This is coming from, I mean, my husband clearly thinks people need to do it the right way as well. Um, you have to get here by your your education, or your mind's ability, something. You know we need we're just a nation of laws, and I get it. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see the women and children begging. Begging. No, I know you're not arguing. I know you're not arguing, but I just want to make clear my point of view on this. But to see the women and children, they just want peace. That's all they want. They just want to come here, and 99.9% of them live peacefully, work for probably very low wages, and not be unalived. It's and I try to really put myself in other people's positions, right? Like, if that was me and my country was torn apart and everyone had been, unalived around me, damn, I would probably want to pack up my stuff too, and walk 1,000 miles or more. But I also know that if I tried to do that, if I tried to walk into another country, I can't do that. I can't do it. You got to do it, you know, lawfully and legally. And it sucks. And I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm trying not to get this political, but this is one of those cases that it's there because of things that's happening in the world right now. I think we need to put pressure on every one of these mother chicken countries that that you know they're coming here, and if they had a good life there, they wouldn't want to leave, right? So it's time, that people in Venezuela and South America and countries and all around, people come from all around the world. It's time. These countries, they need to, the people of those countries need to, you know get the government in order, and it takes the people to do that. It takes sometimes a revolution to do that. But that's the only way it's going to be done. My heart breaks for them. Um, I have been to places in the Middle East and South Asia that I can't tell you. I get teary eyed thinking about it. How fortunate we are as Americans. We have, some of us have no clue. Some of us have no clue. He's snoring. She's snoring. And it's there's some really, really shitty things that happen. I mean, in so many parts of these, in several parts of the world, if your husband dies, if your husband dies, you are, and you don't have any other family or anything, they are coming there to argue. They are coming there to argue, These men will, right in front of everyone in the home. Happens every day. Every day. Every day. And it's terrible. It's terrible. Or you're considered an outcast if your husband beats the living shit out of you, and it's you try to get away from him. They'll have, someone, you'll go to the market or something, someone will follow you and they'll throw acid on you every day. It's crazy. It's a really, really, and let me tell you something. There, you don't pick up and call the police. You don't pick up and go. They don't give a damn. The police in a lot of other countries, they don't give a damn. Right? They don't give a damn. It is about pay up. You're going to give me money if I'm going to do anything. Yeah. And that's it, Danielle. And that's the thing. They have to enforce law in their own country. You know what I mean? They have to enforce law in their own country. And, we can't take on the world's problems. We shouldn't have to. We fought for where we are today, and we fought for so many around the world for democracy and freedom and all of that, but still we can't do it all. We can't save everyone. It's up to the people. It's up to all of us.
I think I was the wrong crowd. Nobody in this world loves you like your parents. You sure Jimmy sick and enter the news.
The defense last week, and they let the state know that they wish to waive the defendant's right to a trial by jury, and instead this defendant wishes to seek a trial by judge only, a bench trial.
Absolutely shocking. To me, the defense notifies the prosecution, say, hey, oh yeah, by the way, that jury we want to select, not going to need it. Let's just have the judge figure this all out. We want a bench trial. Strange development in this case against Jose Ibarra. Take a listen. Here's the judge now speaking through an interpreter to the defendant about this, about waiving the right to have 12 people have to agree to a verdict versus just one sitting on the bench.
Mr. Ibarra, I need to ask you, did you go over the waiver of jury trial and agreement to proceed with bench trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you go over that with your attorney?
Yes, Your Honor.
Was it freely, knowingly, and intelligently?
Anissa's right. This case is pretty airtight. And I think that's the reason why they're doing a bench trial, hoping that the judge will perhaps show a morsel of mercy. He's going to prison. Make no bones about it. He's going to prison.
Diligently signed and considered by you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions about your decision to waive a jury trial in this case?
No questions.
Have you had enough time to talk to your lawyers about that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And do you understand that if I grant this request, it cannot be revoked by you going forward?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
I don't know what they are thinking when they do this. Well, Lisa, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, I understand. I don't like my tax dollars paying for him either. You know what I mean? But I also don't want him to go back to any country and live a happy life, or I don't want him to go back to another country and unalive people. Right? So this is the best option in this case, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So don't want him back here if he was, deported. If he stays there and he lives a happy life, I don't want him living a happy life knowing that he unalived a 22-year-old nursing student who was a bright light in this world. And I don't want him to go unalive anybody else from any other country, even his own country that he's from. I don't want any other woman to suffer. And the best thing we can do is just lock him up for the rest of his life. He'll probably get in prison.
Yes, you know.
Again, extremely unusual. Brings me to my next question. And it's about this decision. Why would Jose Ibarra want a bench trial and waive a jury? Why? With me to help figure this out, criminal defense attorney Josh Schiffer and the criminal defense attorney who represented Melody Farris in the burn pile murder trial, John Luke Weaver. Both of these guys, great Georgia attorneys. This is a Georgia case. Josh Schiffer, why? Why would you do this?
Yeah, there are a number of reasons that you would elect to proceed.
He hasn't unalived anyone that we're aware of, other, Laken, which is far too many. One is far too many. But he has stalked other women.
With a bench trial rather than a jury trial, the first thing that comes to mind is always how inflammatory the evidence would be. And the state can do a very good job inflaming the passions of a jury, especially with something as terrifying as the acts alleged in this case. The state believes very often that by inflaming the passions of the jury, they get more convictions, and the jury will ignore evidence. By choosing a judge-only bench trial, with the state's consent, of course, the defense is hoping that the judge will be able to see past some of these emotions. That, or there could be a specific technical reason that they've selected a bench trial.
John Luke, the other part of this is you just have to convince one, not 12, to prove the case, which I think, what judge, John Luke, would put his or her signature on a not guilty verdict form for this guy accused of this crime? I mean, I just don't see it. I see a waving of the white flag here.
I agree with you. I think it's a complete waving of the white flag. I think that means they've got nothing. There's absolutely no defense they have. And maybe what they're trying to do is they're thinking forward to sentencing, because at the end of the day, if they take less time, if they don't, put a jury through all of this for absolutely nothing, maybe the judge says, instead of life without parole or attacking in all these years after that, then we're talking about maybe life with the possibility of parole. He's a young guy, so that possibly means he could get out someday, and that could be part of the calculus. Again, I don't know. I would never do it in a case like this, but that's what they've decided to do.
Yeah, and Josh, the same thing, though, goes for sentencing. What judge in Georgia is going to put their name on giving this defendant, under these circumstances, if the case is proven, any chance to ever get out? I mean, the break that
he looks so different now. He looks different now, doesn't he? I mean, from, February of 2022 to where are we? November 2024. Looks a lot different. He's not as pudgy in his face. Got a punchable face, doesn't he? I'm telling you, he really does.
got was the local prosecutor didn't go for the death penalty.
Yeah, and the prosecuting attorney's council of Georgia brought out the big guns with Sheila Ross coming in. She's a ringer. She's an absolute pro. Everybody expects her to present a really strong case. And that would again go into maybe there's some currency you can give to the judge by not putting everybody through a long, laborious trial. There also may again be this outside procedural.
Usually people gain weight when they go to jail or prison because they feed you carbs. Lots of carbs, lots of bread, lots of pasta. But
or specific appellate issue that they're hoping to hone in on. I've seen bench trials move with alarming speed. I've been part of some bench trials that, gone and done in a snap. It's
Athens,
that
Georgia.
fast. So it is kind of giving up the ghost when it comes to contesting the facts.
Yeah, you don't have to have any sidebars, that's for sure. You don't have to have any objections. The judge say, I'll ignore the stuff that's not admissible, and I'll just base my verdict on the admissible evidence. John Luke, the other part of this is, isn't the best way for a criminal defendant, if they they know they did it, isn't the best way for a criminal defendant to have some opportunity at sentencing to just go into court instead of a bench trial, say, I did it, accept responsibility for your actions, maybe have some explanation or mitigation about what you went through in your life, and then use that? Because you're still going to have a trial here, you know, and that's not accepting responsibility for your actions.
No, I agree with you, Vinny, 100% on that. If you're going to plea. If you're going to have a trial, have a trial. And maybe what happened, there may have been some breakdown in communication between the attorneys insofar as they couldn't completely agree on a straight plea. And so maybe this was just somehow that the attorney worked out with her client that, you know, this is what we got to do to maybe get just the possibility of parole.
I wonder if he's like an incel or something like that. You know what I mean? Like awkward around women. Feels like he can't have a girlfriend, feels inferior. Oh, Leslie, he's going to be found guilty. This is almost as it's almost as airtight as you could think. That's the way I think about these guys. For people to stalk women, they're desiring something that they feel that they can't have, right? They are wanting something that's not getting them, whether they're awkward, they don't have, any self, confidence to go talk to a woman and be a decent human being. Very insecure. Yes, Tina. Yeah. And that's just the way I feel about this.
Parole someday.
Yeah, I could see that, Josh. I could see that. It's like an extended plea. Instead of going in and doing it in half a day or in a couple hours, we'll do it over a couple of days.
Yeah, it's the long, slow plea, and you're trying to get the judge to maybe open their eyes that the aggression in the state's case is valid and worth, but just, hey, dial it back just a little bit. There might be something to consider before you drop the hammer, because you're right. This is a political state. No judge is going to shy away from using the discretion placed in them, especially Judge Haggard's not new to this job.
All right, we got more to get to. I'm Vinny Politan. We'll keep digging for answers as the investigation continues.
For a life of service to others. Her future was bright. One morning while going for a run on the University of Georgia campus, Laken was attacked. She fought back. She tried to call for help, but in the end, she was killed.
And this is the thing. This is not as really secluded as you think it might be. It's really not. It's right there. I mean, it's astounding to me.
It was a murder mystery that struck fear on a campus and broke the hearts of all who knew Laken. The investigation was quick, and Jose Ibarra, a man who entered the country illegally and had a history with law enforcement in the United States, was arrested and charged with Laken's murder.
The investigation was very quick in this case. Extremely fast. Some of the cases we cover here,
on Vinnie Politan Investigates. They're still unsolved.
Yes, he was.
Or some take weeks, months, sometimes years to solve. Not this one. It's hours and days. They are figuring it out very, very quickly. Take a listen here to Sergeant Timothy Johnson from the Athens-Clarke County Police Department.
Sergeant Chaudhry and the 9th West A Squad proactively went to Argo apartment where an officer found in a recycling dumpster, a cardboard recycling dumpster, found a jacket which had hair on it, and the jacket was torn. They also found some latex gloves with suspected blood in the area to the east, on the east property of the Argo apartment complex. Officer observed a surveillance video belonging to a resident at the apartment complex. Officers made contact with the residents and then called UGA since this was their ongoing investigation. UGA officials arrived and they were able to gather all the evidence, including the surveillance video from the residents. As well, our officers were able to capture an image from the video surveillance of the suspect placing the items in the dumpster.
Everyone was working together very quickly. I mean, it's a big deal, every murder investigation, but when you have one on a campus with students, things seem to build up in intensity and the need to find a killer because you have a whole campus full of young men and young women at risk. So let's get to our next question in this case. What is the evidence against Jose Ibarra? We heard about the dumpster, some of the items retrieved there. Let's talk more about this evidence. With me, private investigator with more than 2 decades of experience, Jason Jensen, and forensic death investigator, host of the very popular Body Bags podcast, Joseph Scott Morgan. Joseph Scott Morgan, let me ask you about the jacket and the gloves found in that dumpster. How significant? What are you looking for there?
Well, as far as the gloves go, Vin, I'm curious as to know about what kind of biological samples might be recovered from those gloves. And if you have viable DNA, it's there. Whose DNA is it? Here's another piece to this, Vin, that's is more in your territory, I think, as far as an attorney goes. But one of the things I'm thinking is if you show up to commit an act like this and you're wearing gloves, that gives you this idea of an event of premeditation. We talked about earlier crime of opportunity. I don't know about you, most people don't walk around with latex gloves on. And so that's going to be significant. The sergeant mentioned the hair as well. What kind of biological strings can be pulled there and, where you can find a specific identity? And what's the nature of that hair? Do you have an entire hair with a root bulb that's there? Or is it, going to be a hair shaft that's broken off? And was this a hair that had come apart as a result of some kind of traumatic event? Or was it just kind of a natural sloughing?
Let's take a listen to Sergeant Joshua Epps from the University of Georgia Police Department.
When the person who you've identified as Jose Ibarra, the defendant, when you asked him to get up and he came out, did you observe anything about this person?
Yes, he resembled the individual I see in this photo more so than Diego.
When you say in this photo, be specific for the record, which photo?
The dumpster photo that I was provided that morning.
What injuries did you observe to Jose Ibarra?
More so what I identify as potential defensive wounds. He had scratches on his forearms, his bicep. I believe it was his left wrist. On the inside of his wrist, there was a puncture mark consistent with the width of a fingernail.
Do you notice anything on his face?
His face, his lip looked a little bruised on the lower lip, and his forehead looked very red or irritated.
Jason Jensen, listening to this officer testify, this is important stuff. So they have a surveillance video by the dumpster, much like in the Jen Soto.
Okay, darling, I'll be going tomorrow to the post office. I think there's quite a bit of stuff there, so I'll be headed that way tomorrow morning.
Stephen Stearns.
And I'll open them all tomorrow night.
Case. And it's a little bit grainy, and they go and they execute a search warrant at Diego Ibarra's apartment. His brother.
Scratches on arms. Where have we seen that before, right? you know, but many times, you're unaliving someone, you're going to get injuries. You're going to get injuries. And their arms, their face, their chest, anywhere is going to have scratches or whatever. Yes, she fought back, and therefore her life was taken. Let's be honest.
But then when they get there, they see Jose, and he makes all these observations. I mean, this is important stuff, trying to figure out if it's one brother or the other.
Yes. In fact, given the fact that he's got defensive wounds, and we do know from the execution of the warrant, they collected DNA samples from him.
Is he being sent back, the brother? I hope his ass is being sent back.
Now, if they can tie the DNA to, let's say, epithelial skin cells that were collected from underneath her nails because of the nature of defensive wounds, then we tie the suspect directly to the deceased victim. So it's very critical and very likely that that's the type of evidence that's going to come forward at this bench trial.
Let's take a listen now to Detective Tim Stewart from the Athens-Clarke County PD.
Did you pull the known prints of a Jose Antonio Ibarra?
Yes,
Did you compare those to the latent print?
I did.
What were your results?
In my opinion, the left thumb of Jose Antonio Ibarra is the source of the latent on the cell phone.
Okay, Justice Scott Morgan, we've got some conflicting things going on here right now, right? We've got a fingerprint on Laken Riley's cell phone matching to the defendant, Jose Ibarra. Then we were talking about those latex gloves. I'm trying to figure out what happened here.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating, Ben? At what point in time did those gloves perhaps come off of his hand? And the fact that we've got a latent print that comes off the phone, everybody can identify with.
Think about this sick bastard. He is sitting in the bushes, knowing that a female is going to be running. And, he's allegedly stalking Laken. But he's got gloves on, rubber gloves on. That is deplorable as it gets. That is demented as it gets. That is twisted as it gets. If you're familiar with Summer Wells's case, I always think of Don Wells when I hear things like this. He didn't R that woman, but he sat outside of her house for 2 hours and then went into her garage area and picked out underwear, lingerie, and skin cells. Yeah. That takes a level of commitment, depravity, just twisted to one thing that going through your mind, right? But it's another thing for a person to act on it, to get in their car, drive across town, or walk to this area, hunch down in some bushes, put gloves on, and wait. Me too, Kathy. Me too.
for this. You've got this non-porous surface here on the glass surface of the smartphone. When you touch that surface, the fatty lipids that are coming through your skin through the friction ridges are going to leave a very distinctive print. And in this case, what he's talking about is a thumbprint. Remember, we've got this kind of really gut-wrenching moment where this 911 call has been initiated, and suddenly it just drops off. And what the investigators are saying is that he had essentially knocked the phone out of her hand at that point, critical.
But to be honest, it is what it is. I think a lot of his victims were younger.
Thing though is, where were those gloves at that particular time? Had they gotten so messy that he had taken them off for some reason, or did he put the gloves on afterwards, after he had subdued her?
Yeah, I mean, Laken Riley is fighting for her life, doing everything right, calling 911. She knows something is wrong here, and
she called 911. Called 911, took it out of her hand.
The suspect allegedly hangs up that call. Let's take a listen to Sergeant Joshua Epps again from the UGA PD.
There was a call for a suspicious person. Initially, it sounded like a peeping Tom looking through the back window of an apartment at Rogers Road, which is the university housing complex adjacent to this apartment complex. The individual is described as a male with a hooded sweatshirt on that was dark in color, with dark pants and a white cup, like a fast food restaurant cup, who was trying to get in the front door and also walk to the back, looking in the back window of an apartment complex.
Approximately how much time passed from when the student called 911 until the time that you located Laken Riley's body?
Maybe 2 hours or so.
Okay, Jason Jensen, this is significant as well. They're saying peeping Tom here, but it seems like there was more on the suspect's mind, if we believe this evidence, that he's trying to gain entry into someone else's apartment while peering through the window.
Peeping Tom.
Exactly right. If what they're saying is true, that he tried to gain access into the apartment, that means that he was trying to target that particular occupant of that apartment initially, and when that failed to occur, he goes off to the next opportunity.
Joseph Scott Morgan, how would you evaluate, from what we know and what's been made public, more will happen during the trial, obviously, but the strength of the evidence in this case against this defendant?
Oh my gosh, the physical evidence in this case, I think, is going to be overwhelming, Dan.
Yeah,
I truly do. I think that there's a lot more here than we probably know, and particularly when we start to dig into that kind of granular detail that we'll hear on the stand from particularly DNA scientists and from the forensic pathologist. It's going to be, it'll be dramatic, and you'll see specific physical tiebacks if I'm reading this correctly, because they've already revealed quite a bit. How many cases have you and I covered over the years, Finn, where we don't have this much information that's come out at this point, this early? I mean, think about this. This didn't happen that long ago, and we've already got all of this data. How much more is left to be revealed?
Yeah, Jason Jensen, when you think about the nature of the evidence in this case, it's the kind of evidence that jurors like. It's a physical evidence. It's a thumbprint. It's potentially DNA. It's a video. This is the stuff that can really resonate with a jury. But in this case, there's not even going to be a jury. There's just a jury of one, the judge.
No, exactly. I mean, we know from the CSI effect that really what jurors like to see is the scientific evidence. And it seems like in this particular case, like Joseph Scott Morgan was just saying, it's going to be overwhelming. We have everything from cellular, DNA, fingerprints, you name it. It's not just one piece of evidence. It's a multitude of evidence.
Jason Jensen, Joseph Scott Morgan, thank you so much for your insight and expertise. Now, despite all the evidence, he's got a defense still to come. What is Jose Ibarra's alibi?
It ain't shit. I'll tell you that. It ain't shit.
That he found this individual who presented a fake green card to him when he encountered him.
Did you observe that individual?
Yes.
And what did you observe that individual to be wearing?
He had a black hat on and a red quarter zip athletic style sweatshirt with sweatpants. The hat was significant.
Nana, I don't think she actually, let me check if she called 911. I think she called 911 when she felt like she was being stalked at her apartment. Let me double check that.
Because it matched a photo that Sergeant Johnson provided me of a male that was discarding evidence within 24 hours of the murder of Laken Riley in the adjacent area.
The person was he later identified as Diego Ibarra.
Correct.
Interesting part of this case, and I think it may loom large, is that there's this distinctive hat that they see on the suspect in the video. But then when they go to the apartment, Jose Ibarra's not wearing the hat.
Nope, you're right. No, I was right the first time. So during the attack, she attempted to call 911. According to court documents, her phone made a 911 call during the incident, but the call was disconnected, allegedly by the suspect. He's accused of physically preventing Riley from completing an emergency call, which you can't do that. If you stop someone doing an emergency call, that's a crime.
Brother Diego.
So they found her 2 hours later.
Is actually wearing the hat. I want to put something up on the screen here. This is pretty interesting. This is from something that the state filed. The state further requests that the defendant serve upon the prosecuting attorney a written notice of the defendant's intent to offer a defensive alibi. Does he have an alibi? Is he going to say, I wasn't there? Couldn't have been me. I was somewhere else doing something else? Maybe his alibi. So that brings us to our next question, right? Relative to the alibi, if and when there is one here, what is Jose Ibarra's alibi? I mean, this is the type of case, right? Like if you didn't do it, it means you weren't there. It means you're somewhere else.
911 is supposed to send usually someone out. It was disconnected. Hopefully we'll be able to hear that 911 call tomorrow. I don't know if it's out. Let me check.
Right? And that would be reasonable doubt or proof of your innocence. Either way. Let's bring back in our guest still with us to discuss all of this. Criminal defense attorney Josh Schiffer and the criminal defense attorney.
She may have not been able to even speak, right? It was just a 911 call and then not a hello or anything. But I'm trying to find, let me check.
You represented Melody Farris in the burn pile murder trial that you saw here on Court TV. John Luke Weaver is with us, both great Georgia defense attorneys. I'm wondering here, John Luke, if this is going to turn into a situation, and let me play this out for you. You tell me if this could possibly happen, that Diego Ibarra comes into the courtroom and says, I did it. I did it. I was wearing that hat because I did it.
So the Athens police has refused to release that call, citing, the investigation. If my damn computer will work. It was revealed that Laken Riley tried to call the 911 before she was unalived. And it was taken out of her hand. Authorities have refused to release the audio from the 911 call despite numerous public record requests. According to Fox News, officials from the Athens Clarke County Police Department confirmed that Riley had, in fact, contacted law enforcement during the deadly encounter, but did not say when, if at all, more information would be released. The suspect was taken into custody shortly after. It is not previously known which 911 call the letter charge referred to. Authorities stated that at the time that they had received a call from one of Riley's friends reporting her missing when she did not return for her jog. However, it makes more sense that the suspect interfered with the call made directly by Riley. When the news broke that the ACCPD were refusing to release the audio from the call, many took to social media requests questioning why such decisions had been made. So apparently the roommate had called back, called and said, I think that's how it was initially reported. Hey, my roommate is not came back. It's very much unlike her. Check it out. He Soldier Girl.
And it wasn't my brother. Is that possible? I mean, what would happen if Diego came into court and said, I did it?
Well, that's never going to happen, Vinny. But I tell you what, if I had an alibi, the first thing I would do is send notice of alibi to the DA immediately. I want them to know. I want to scream it from the mountaintops. I've got an alibi. You've got the wrong man. But that's not going to happen. 0% chance.
0%. Josh Schiffer, your thoughts? I mean, if you, in like a murder mystery, which this was for, a few hours at least. Yeah, if you didn't do it, you would have evidence of where you are, because we know the time of the attack. We know the time, the general time of the death. If you didn't do it, you would obviously be somewhere else.
Yeah, and the brother Diego and the ID issue, that got hunted down real quick because, neither of these gentlemen have scot-free backgrounds. That was part of the investigation, is how well known these guys are. And yeah, you could have a mistake of fact. All kinds of wild stuff could happen. This is Georgia. This is bench trial. If you're going to swing for...
Someone just sent me this. This is interesting. Very interesting. In October 2023, the suspect and his brother, who was reported by authorities to be members of a Venezuelan gang, Tren de Arga, who temporarily worked at UGA, were arrested by Athens police on theft charges. Both were released after reportedly possessing stolen merchandise from a local Walmart. So not only were they in a gang in Venezuela, they had also temporarily worked at University of Georgia. Yes, Tar. Yes, honey. And also they had stolen stuff from Walmart.
For the fences, this is kind of spot to do it, because Mr. Ibarra looks like he was up against a DA who wasn't going to even talk about dealing or with life without parole. I think that's really the only thing that was negotiated in the disposition of this case. State's got firm ground to stand on it. Miss Ross isn't going to, back down. She would be subject to some sort of criticism for offering parole. That's not what the state does here in Georgia. We go for the max.
No, we didn't go for the max. The max was a death penalty. Let's be honest now, Josh. Don't say max. The max was a death penalty in this case.
And that would have been improper for a number of reasons. The call was made early on about death penalty issues in this case. It's part of why we're getting justice in 6 months. You want to talk about the efficiency of justice? If you make this a death penalty case.
Also, someone, where the hell was it? When was this? July 11th, 2024. The United States placed sanctions on this gang of Venezuela. GANG. They don't like me saying that a lot. That word. Prison origins that law enforcement leaders throughout the Americas have identified as a violent and exploitative criminal organization known for human. The group has been linked to kidnapping, money laundering, contract unalivings, smuggling, and organized retail theft from Panama to Brazil and along the Latin America. Wow. The White House and Treasury Department each announced that the trend, how do you pronounce it? You're going to say that in English. Okay. Tren de Agua has been designed, is designated a transnational criminal organization which blocks any of their assets in the United States that are controlled by foreign nationals. In addition, the United States is offering up a 12 million reward for information leading to the arrest and or conviction of its leaders. Tran de Agua poses a deadly criminal threat across the region, the White House said. Republicans in Congress, led by Senator Marco Rubio, have long been urging Democratic President Joe Biden to make such a designation. And oh, look here. This is crazy. Wowzers.
Be the best gift
Oh
giver
my
ever.
God, come on. 26 seconds. Hold on. That's insane. For one. All right. How does it operate? The gang started by extorting businesses in Venezuela, then spread to human trafficking, giving the large number of migrants where was it at? This is a member of Special Forces of Bolivian National Police is pictured in the Argaz jail as Venezuelan government announced it has completed the first phase of its plan to take back control of the prison system. You lose control of the prison system, you are screwed. So where was I? In Peru, Tren de Agua was first noticed around 2019 after bodies were found mutilated. Let me tell you what these people do. Guys, they're like, if you go on Reddit, there's some crazy things on Reddit. You can go to what these gangs do. I shouldn't have said that word. And they mutilate the people that they unalive. They will, for instance, trigger warning. They will take off and then place it on the other person, switch heads, and then they will take the genitalia and place it in places. And let me tell you something, they don't care who it is. They will do this to children, the most depraved, and that's what this mother trucker was doing. These two brothers. Oh, it's beyond sick, Kelsey. I don't even know how people think of this shit. Oh yeah, they be at anyone they want. Yes, and they'll write their names, their symbols in their back, their stomach area, anywhere on their body, their forehead. It's bad. Some U.S. politicians has raised fear that Trin de Agua could be operating in the United States. On March 25th, U.S. enforcement and removal operations in Chicago reported that the arrest of Edelvis Rodriguez Carmona, a Venezuelan migrant, is identified as the member of the Trin de Agua transnational organization. In another case, U.S. prosecutors in Georgia have accused Venezuelan man held on immigration violations, Dialgo Ibarra, a member of Tren de Agua. His brother, which is who we're talking about right now, Jose Antonio Ibarra, is wanted for the murder of the 22-year-old Laken Riley, which obviously we know about that. Republicans have highlighted the Riley's unaliving to criticize Biden immigration policy. While some members have entered the U.S., officials have not yet seen evidence that Tren de Agua has organized here, according to 3 Latin American police sources who spoke on the condition of anonymity due to the political sensitivities of the issues in the U.S. That's insanity. Really, really is. What I saw in Iraq and Afghanistan, been there almost 10 years, would blow your mind. Yep. Yep, James. um, I mean, it's great.
May have made this decision. Welcome to Crime Fix.
Oh wait, not this one. Not this one. Sorry. Definitely need to get those gangs. Yeah. Hopefully they're not here, but they're, they have people
Augusta
coming
Medical
here.
College, pursuing her dream of being
Look at
a
Laken, how
nurse.
beautiful.
She was devoted to making this world a better place, and we have no doubt that she would have been an incredible nurse.
Laken is described as deeply caring, with an infectious smile, and as an amazing sister and daughter. NBC News spoke with her father.
She was so full of life. I just hate that.
Poor father, poor family. Look at this, y'all.
She was taken so early. I wake up every day thinking, that I can call her, and I can't.
Laken was a member of the Alpha Chi Omega sorority. Her death devastated her sorority sisters.
Many sisters have shared that she was the best listener. She would allow you to ramble on about how your day was or how your life had been lately, and she soaked it up intently.
Her family started the Laken Hope Foundation in her honor, a foundation that promotes safety for women and helps nursing students.
This campus and our sisterhood will never be the same without Laken Riley, but the impact that she made within her 22 years was enough to last a lifetime and beyond.
So there's that. And I want to show you something here from News Nation real quick. Did you experience the Iraq crud? Yeah. There's a lot of pollution and a lot of dust.
To a bench trial, so no jury, and it will start on Friday. The accused murderer morning.
Look,
This
I mean,
case is now going to be headed
She was a runner, right? She was a runner.
to a bench trial, so no jury, and it will start on Friday. The accused murderer, Jose Ibarra, signed a waiver in court this morning to forego the jury trial and face the judge instead. Laken was killed while she was running on the University of Georgia's campus back in February, and her death shocking the UGA community and the nation. It drew national attention. The suspect, Ibarra, is an undocumented immigrant charged in her death. Caitlin Becker is there for us in Athens, Georgia. Caitlin, it sounds like by the minute this is developing even further. Friday now appearing to be the start of the now bench trial.
That's exactly right, Marnie. The court is now.
Why are they starting it on Friday? I mean, unless they're going to have it done tomorrow. Why not start it on Monday? If it's going to last long. R. Taylor, thank you so much, my dear, for renewing your membership. No, he wasn't married with me. He wasn't married. Was it?
Adjourned for the day, so it does seem like we have just gotten to the end of our updates for now. The beginning of the trial opening statements has been moved up several days. It was supposed to be next week. Now it will be Friday morning at 9 a.m. The judge does not anticipate going through the weekend, and then we'll pick trial back up on Monday and then go through the week there. This shifting of scheduling all happened because Ibarra, with the agreement of the state, the prosecutors, and the defense, decided to waive his right to a jury trial and opt for a bench trial. And of course, what that means is that this is adjudicated by the judge and only the judge. There won't be 12 jurors of his peers sitting there listening to this trial. And there are a lot of reasons, Marnie, someone would opt for a bench trial. It speeds up the process. As I just said, we're already going to get to opening statements a few days earlier than anticipated. You don't have the process of having to explain jury instructions, having to explain the law to the jurors. And then, of course, they won't be deliberating because all of this will be decided by the judge who knows the law better than anyone else in that.
Oh, thank you, R. Taylor, for gifting 5 pearl necklaces. Thank you, baby. If you received one of those pearl necklaces, make sure you thank our dear R. Taylor. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Whoops. Dropped your bottle, baby. Sorry. I got it. Thank you so much, my dear. Really do appreciate you, sweetheart.
Courtroom. Another big reason that people tend to do this is whether or not the crime is particularly heinous or violent or emotional. Jurors go in and they're instructed and they sign in, they say and give an oath to say, we are going to render a fair verdict based on the law and only the law. But it's impossible to expect a human being not to see an emotional side of this. This is a particularly heinous crime. Laken Riley, 22 years old, she was a nursing student. She was bludgeoned to death in the middle of the day, bright daylight, on a popular running trail on the University of Georgia campus here in Athens. Her body was then dragged off of that running trail into a secluded area in an attempt to conceal it. Her skull was disfigured. Her parents were in the courtroom today, and this wasn't a particularly emotional day in court, but you couldn't help but get emotional looking at these poor parents sitting there holding back tears as they see their daughter's alleged killer sitting in front of them. So not having jurors in the jury box would potentially, I think, from the defendant's standpoint, perhaps benefit him because they wouldn't have that emotional aspect.
Oh, Christina says she misses having her jet black hair after seeing this girl. Yes. You're naturally a dirty blonde. Me too, Christina. Me too. Oh, you mean the girl on television. Sorry. I thought you meant her. Her nice black hair. Okay. It's sweet.
To it, Marnie. What do we know about how the bench trial will play out, access to it inside the courtroom, what we'll see once things begin, Caitlin?
From what we understand at this point, it should be completely open to the media. We were allowed to get footage today from a pool cam that we all had access to. So I expect that to go forward, but I don't know if all of those things have been decided just yet because things are kind of moving as we're speaking. However, I will tell you that the judge read the Media the Riot Act before adjourning for the day. And it was really hard to hear in court today because one of the microphones weren't working. So people were kind of asking questions to the attorneys and trying to see exactly what was going on. And the judge said in no uncertain terms did he want to see the media speaking to the attorneys, to Ibarra, or to the victim's family. And that is going to be a hard and fast rule as the case moves forward. So it does seem that the media will be invited to watch these proceedings openly, but really needed to keep their distance from the parties who are involved, Marnie.
Yeah, certainly some parameters necessary in such a high profile and just sad case. Caitlin, thank you for the update. Still ahead. Elements in the.
All right. Oops, there we go. So there we have it. Unless you're really young, darker hair makes us look older. Yep. When you get older, you need lighter hair. Generally speaking. Otherwise, it makes you look older. Who did the judge read the Riot Act to? The suspect, the guy being charged. Hey, Lakeside. What does Pearl like taking a bath? Does she like it? No. But she will. Eventually, she'll like it. So she eats all day long, but she eats more of the evening. I've noticed. Her last 2 bottles is whenever she's like before bed. Hers played a lot today. She did. She played a lot. We played almost 2 hours on the video earlier from the channel. So, not on this. 49 gray hair creeps in and not ready for that phase. What's that, Rhonda? You're well, I mean, you don't gotta go. I mean, if you're, you know, you don't have to go white. You don't have to go gray, right? Go brown. Yeah, dye it brown. I'm a caller than this. Yeah. Uh, I think salt and pepper on a man is is uh is good looking. Why did I think the baby bottles were larger? It's 2 ounces. It's 2 ounces. Uh, I'm letting my hair grow out long. Gets to your shoulders. Are you gonna do a rainbow? That's I mean, it's pretty. It's just hard to keep, the collar. I can't wait till I got gray. I will become a broke dad. What do you mean all things serious? What do you mean? Oh, you're like a 5 o'clock shadow too. I see you, you little stinker. You little stinker. Look at I see you. Love a salt and pepper hair. Daddy and 5 o'clock shadow nights. Oh, thank you, little Miss Sunshine. Thank you, my love. Coming in hot. Coming in hot. Oh yeah, Pearl sleep's good. Yes. If you're going gray, you need to take magnesium. Um, my dad was almost white-headed when he died at 48, and so I'm right there at 40, and so far, I haven't got any gray. But some people look amazing with gray hair. Some people do. I just some people turn gray very early. You know, I was ash blonde and let it go, so it has blonde looking highlights better than I was. Sometimes, Teresa, yeah, uh, if you have like a blonde hair and you've got like gray or silver, it looks really good together. I'm gray, have been since I was 52 mini Panthers. I'm 41 and getting gray streaks. I'm trying to embrace it. Um, I think you do what you want to do. You know what I mean? You do what makes you comfortable. If you want to go gray, go gray. If you don't want a gray hair on your head, don't have a gray hair on your head. I think you should do what, you know, your stylist calls it sparkles. I mean, I think, for instance, uh, guys in particular, if the hair is not dyed right, it can look, and especially with the different types of haircuts, it can look really bad. It can look like, you know, an animal sitting on top of your head. My stepdad was gray in high school. Yep. You was all gray at 22, Robin? You're one of some people. My friend, he was great very early on. He looks so good in it though. Yeah, the Just for Men can look flat. Yeah, if you're not careful. Yeah. My husband used he used the Just for Men one day. It was like the kind you brush in your hair or something like that. I'm like, we're not doing that again. We're not doing that again. You're gonna go get it done. You're gonna let me do it. Because no, we're not having that. But especially if they do like the hair and then like the goatee or the beard. Your husband did it too, yeah. And it just looks the problem is there is no, in with our natural hair, we have natural highlights and lowlights in our hair, and it creates everything so uniform. Do you know who Joshua Jackson is from Don's Creek? Joshua Jackson, Don's Creek. Don's Creek. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Are we looking at like Dawson's Creek? Okay. Glow up. It's weird how some people's hair turns gray while others turns white. Yeah, Mama OG. Some gray is really not very attractive in my opinion. Hey FC, good to see you, bud. Hope you're doing well. Some people, we're just finishing our podcast. Sorry. We got off on a tangent here. Yes, Thomas. Yes. But which one is it? Good to hear, my man. Good to hear. That's not a good pick. Well, I don't know which pick you want. Okay, how about that one? Is that a better pick? Is that better? Hey, AFC. Bet you never seen a little monkey. A true crimer with a monkey. Look at my widow. Oh, she's pissed. Look at my widow monkey. She's so cute. Look up. Look up. She's sleepy. I know a guy didn't believe it was him. He always had copper hair. So anywho. All right. Yeah, like I said, I'll try to play the trial tomorrow, but I can't. Monkey love, that's right. But I have to work in the morning, so if I can, play it from my work, then that's what I'll do. But if not, then we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Thank you all so very much. Really appreciate you. I've got to be up at 5:30 in the morning. Oh, you're fine, Lakeside. I'm getting Jumanji images from Remy getting older. I love that movie. That was a good movie. It was a good movie. She is cute, isn't she, Soldier Girl? Thank you, AFC. Good to see you. Hey, Jay. Did you just get here, JJ? All right, guys. Good night, everyone. God bless. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow, Lord willing. Good night.